Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team series with Lozzer Racing, and it is round 5, the French Grand Prix. Now, if you weren't here at the beginning of the series, first of all, why? Go back and watch the rest of the episodes. But if you weren't here, you're probably wondering why we're doing France straight after Azerbaijan. I'm only doing a 16 race calendar, as you can see on the screen right now, and I have taken out all the races that were taken out in real life. So Canada's not there, Singapore's not there, Australia's not there, etc, etc. So that is why we are doing France straight after Azerbaijan. But also, at the end of the last episode, I said that I would show you guys the championship standings after the last race because I forgot to do it. I forgot to do it again, so massive apologies for that. It will be shown at the end of this race, of course. But now as we head into qualifying, the weather forecast, it says apparently there might be a little bit of rain starting about halfway through qualifying, so you know, it could really shake things up here if it starts raining at a certain point, but the race looks like it's going to be dry, so that's all good. So as we head into qualifying then, and I am heading out on my first lap of Paul Ricard for a good while, to be honest with you, because when I did this series on the F1 2020 game, I didn't actually put this track in the calendar, and I've only really driven this track in F1 2020 for like no rules races for the most part, so it's the first time in a long while that I've actually driven this track properly, but it is actually one of my favourite tracks to drive in the F1 game. I have no idea why. Obviously it's a track that doesn't produce the best of racing sometimes in real life, although the Grand Prix this year was pretty good. But yeah, it's not the greatest track to watch a race on, but to drive in this game, it is one of my favourites, along with like Silverstone. Canada's also one of those as well, so I'm glad that I have put this one back on the calendar in-game and I get to drive around it. I don't know what it is about it. It's not because there's no walls or anything anywhere. I don't think that's a thing. Of course, it means you can make less mistakes as as you drive, because you're not going to get punished for it quite as much. But I don't know, it's just a nice mix of straights and different speed corners. But this is our first lap on the soft tyres. I went out as quickly as I could because of course there's rain forecast and you never know when it's going to come. And it's actually raining right now. If you look at the halo, look at the streaks of rain on the halo. It is already starting to rain towards the end of my first lap. So this one has really got to count here as we go around the final corner now and onto the main straight. This is going to be the only lap that counts, I think, in this Q1 session. We crossed the line. We're ahead of Mazepin. It's only the 5th time on the board. We're 2 seconds slower than Ricciardo. Yeah, at the moment we can't really gauge where we are on the leaderboard. And this is just a short while later whilst in the garage. I am currently P8 ahead of Giovinazzi, Tsunoda and Mazepin. And all the rest of the 8 drivers below that have not set a time yet. So I decided to go out and see how wet it is to see if I can go and set another time. But lo and behold, I go out on my soft tyres and it is absolutely soaking. So I'm not going to be doing another lap, and neither is anyone else really. Look at how hard it is to turn in the soft tyres, and I do actually spin out there just trying to get back on the track, or sorry, just to keep the car moving forward, really, keep the car in a straight line. It's really hard to control, especially on a controller. But yeah, so that is going to be it for Q1. No more representative times are going to be set. Everyone who set a time on soft tyres, like we have, is going to go through to Q2. So we advanced through with the 8th fastest time. Robert Schwartzman unfortunately just misses out. He misses out by half a second. But considering the conditions, that's not actually that much, because he was nearly 8 seconds behind the fastest time. But drivers such as Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll have been caught out by this, and they've been knocked out in Q1, which is a big shock. But because of the conditions, it's not really a big shock. But that does mean now that the rest of this qualifying session will be done in wet conditions, and actually at the start of Q2, it is in full wet conditions. So that suddenly makes this qualifying session a lot more exciting. A massive leveler is the fact that we are in full wet conditions at the start of Q2, which means that could we maybe have a small chance of getting through to Q3 today? Of course, the only time you've seen me drive in the wet so far on this game was at Monaco during the race. That was in full wet conditions, but that was Monaco. That's different. There's a lot more room for error there. Here, there is not as much room for error. And of course, this is qualifying, this is not the race, so we're going to be going a lot more flat out as well, as the conditions worsen, if anything, really. But we come across the line to finish our first flying lap, and it's currently the slowest of all the times, 9/10 slower than Pierre Gasly. But the beauty of it being wet is the fact that we can just go straight on another lap. We don't have to back off, we don't have to change tyres. The wet tyres and the intermediate tyres can last for more than one lap in succession in qualifying. We had a few iffy moments in that first lap, so it wasn't really representative of what I could do. You know, we had quite a few oversteer moments, and you know, we didn't take some corners properly. It was the first time I'd driven this track in the wet, and as you can see, we're off to the back straight already, and we've gained 6/10. Just like that, we've gained 6/10, and we're nearly 7/10 up here. Of course, DRS is not enabled because of the conditions, but maybe we might have this glimmer of a hope that we get through to Q3 for the first time in the team's history, at least on this game anyway, and we're doing so much better here. We have a little bit of a moment coming out of there, but look at all the time I'm gaining here. We're up to 8/10 gain now. It's absolutely, I mean, the one time I drove France on my channel as well, this similar thing happened where the conditions were just, the conditions completely just changed up qualifying, and I think I've qualified P2 in a Toro Rosso, if I remember correctly, and that was in Season 1. We're 8/10 up here. It's absolutely, the grip levels, I don't know if it's the conditions, I don't know if the track's a bit better now. I mean, it's probably a bit more rubbered in, more people have driven on it, so it's not quite as slippy and wet. We've gained now a second. I've probably just taken better lines as well. I don't know, but we're going to see as we're going to cross the line to end our second flying lap here. What's it going to be? Only Giovinazzi's gone slower than us so far. It's going to be up to P8. We've gone faster than the two Alpha Tauris, and we're only 4/10 behind the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc. And as we reach the end of Q2 for the final flying laps, it's actually gone to intermediate conditions. The rain has eased off slightly and we're now on intermediate tyres, but are we even going to make it to the line here? We're down to 3, 2, 1, and we just crossed the line. We just missed the checkered flag. So we get to do another flying lap, this time on intermediate tyres. At the moment we're P15, only Mazepin slower than us, but we are yet to set a time on intermediate tyres at this point, so we have to get a move on here, and we're already 4/10 up, heading into, well, this section of the track that is not the greatest section of the track, but this delta time is not representative because, of course, we did it on the wet tyres. We've also got a Ferrari behind us, but I think this Ferrari is on an in lap because we only just got the checkered flag, so there was no way this Ferrari behind us did. We're 1 second up on our previous time, but let's see what happens as we go further down the lap. As we go to the final corner now, we've gained nearly 3 seconds on our previous time. What is it going to be? We've dropped down to P16 and last in this session. We're about to gain just under 3 seconds of time. Where is that going to put us? I'll tell you where it's going to put us. It's going to put us in Q3. We've made it through with the 7th fastest time. We absolutely put the lap together on those intermediate tyres. We've beaten a Ferrari, Carlos Sainz in P13. Pierre Gasly's out in Q2. Esteban Ocon's out. We're faster than a Red Bull. We have done absolute wonders in the rain there. But it's not over yet as we head into Q3. And we're on our first flying lap here in Q3, still on intermediate tyres. I think the whole session is going to be on intermediate tyres. We'll wait and see as we round the final couple of corners here. I think we've done pretty well on this lap as well. We now head to the straight. Oh, we have a bit of an oversteer moment there coming out of the final corner as we head to the line. Where's this time going to put us? It's going to put us P6, so we're faster than Yuki Tsunoda, but I don't think everyone has set lap times yet. No, they haven't. There's Valtteri Bottas going fastest, but again, the beauty of this, we just go straight for another lap again on the same set of intermediate tyres, and because of this, we are probably going to go faster as well. And as we come round to the final corner on our second flying lap, we've missed the apex completely. We've gone wide, we've oversteered, but we're still gaining a little bit of time. It's going to be around 2/10. Where is this going to put us? It's going to put us in P9. We're going to stay in P9. And unfortunately, that's it for our Q3 session. There may be 5 minutes left of the session, but unfortunately that is not enough time to get into the pits, change tyres and go back out again. And what a strange end to the qualifying session, as Max Verstappen is going to be on pole position ahead of Sebastian Vettel and Daniel Ricciardo, as those three managed to get out on a set of softs and set good lap times. But now let's head to the race.
Welcome along then to France, host of the world-famous Tour de France. But we're not talking 2 wheels today, we're talking 4, in a country widely thought of as giving birth to the art of motor racing back in the late 1800s. We've come a long way since then, and you're about to find out how far. It's time for the French Grand Prix. The circuit Paul Ricard then, a 3.6-mile track, 25 miles east of Marseille. 15 corners here, 6 to the left and 9 to the right, with the main overtaking chance expected going into turn 8. Top speeds today should be around 205 miles per hour. And as always, a man with plenty of racing experience joins me in the commentary box. Today it's Anthony Davidson. Tell me, Ant, you're no stranger to surviving the melee of turn 1, so how do you keep out of trouble when there's so much going on around you?
There are 3 main things to worry about there, Crofty: positioning, awareness and discipline. First, you have to put your car in a bit of space and make sure you have room to react to what the others are doing. Then you have to watch your mirrors and listen to the sounds around you to get a sense of where everyone is. And finally, just don't get too greedy. Just because a gap exists doesn't always mean you should go for it.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Young superstar Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Sebastian Vettel starting alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Norris, Valtteri Bottas and Hamilton, Perez, Leclerc, Lawrence and Yuki Tsunoda, Gasly, Ocon, Carlos Sainz and Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, Mazepin, Robert Schwartzman and Fernando Alonso, Stroll, Latifi, Russell and Mick Schumacher. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head to trackside for today's race.
So here we are then, it's just going to be a simple one-stop mediums to hards for this race, as pretty much everyone is going to do the same thing. And that's about it really. As we head to the start, the 5 red lights are about to go out, and once they do, we'll be racing at Paul Ricard. It's lights out and we're underway, and it's an alright start compared to Charles Leclerc, but then suddenly we bog down and both the AlphaTauris overtake us, Gasly and Tsunoda, as we head into turn 1. Gasly and Leclerc going side by side. Tsunoda's got ahead of both of them. We go down the inside of Pierre Gasly and Leclerc's got his momentum back, which means he's going to get past Tsunoda himself once again as they go wheel to wheel into turn, what's that, 2 or 3? I can't remember the turn numbers, but we're going to go around the outside of the other AlphaTauri of Yuki Tsunoda, and we get back up into our starting position of P9. What a brilliant first couple of corners that was. But the job isn't done yet, as Tsunoda is coming back at me here, and Carlos Sainz has also made his way up to P11 as well. Tsunoda down the inside there. We're going to have a look back down his inside though. We're going to bang. I was going to say bang wheels. We definitely did not bang wheels. We hit in other places there, and Carlos Sainz sees the opportunistic move there, and he's now down the inside at the flat out right hander. Tsunoda's also having a look, but he's not going to get through. Carlos Sainz has passed us and we're down to P10. Tsunoda had a look there down my inside at this weird sort of, it's a bit like the Bahrain turn 10, isn't it? It's not a double right hander, but it's like brake and then accelerate and then brake, and you don't know what you're doing. But that was pretty hectic first lap from our side. As we have a look then at the start from the front, it's Max Verstappen and Sebastian Vettel on the front row, and they both get fantastic starts compared to the 2 McLarens behind. Verstappen on the inside, Vettel on the outside, but the inside of turn 1 becomes the outside of turn 2, and Vettel manages to get into the lead, but then Verstappen gets it back again. I don't know what I'm doing as I'm switching around the drivers, but Verstappen is the one who leads. The 2 McLarens going wheel to wheel. Norris ahead of Ricciardo, but Ricciardo gets back ahead of Norris again, and then suddenly Norris is thrust into a battle with Valtteri Bottas behind. Of course, the 2 Mercedes starting on the 3rd row together as opposed to the front row. But now we're having a look at Sebastian Vettel. This is lap 3 and he's coming under pressure from the McLaren of Daniel Ricciardo, and Ricciardo is going to easily get the move done down the back straight. Max Verstappen's getting away from everyone, but Ricciardo gets the move done on Vettel and he's up into P2, and suddenly Vettel is suddenly in a little bit of trouble because his car is not quite as fast as the ones behind him. The Aston Martin is not as fast as the McLaren, the Mercedes, or the Red Bull, and in some cases not even the Ferrari either. So Vettel is probably going to drop a few places here. And I think it's not long before he's going to lose another place here as he's creating slight terrain behind him. Look at all those cars following. And Lando Norris is the next man to try and get the overtake done on the Aston Martin. They both have DRS this time, but the McLaren just has the outstanding straight line speed as they go into turn 1 wheel to wheel. Norris on the inside, that becomes the outside for turn 2. Vettel remains ahead slightly. They're still side by side, but Norris has the better traction, gets ahead of the Aston Martin just, but he hangs it in there, does Vettel, but compromises his line into turn 4, and Norris gets ahead, and now Vettel is quickly under pressure from the two Mercedes. First Bottas, now then Hamilton, but Hamilton, as you just saw there, has actually managed to get past Bottas, but again, Bottas has got past into the next corner, and now the two Mercedes are going at it. It's not very often you see them racing in 2021. They're both side by side going into the chicane, and it's Lewis Hamilton who comes out on top, and Perez has also managed to get past Valtteri Bottas. Hamilton's pass on Bottas has now put him well under pressure from the Red Bull, and the Red Bull's going to have the inside line into the flat out right-hander, and that is going to give him 6th place. Meanwhile, back to our POV, and we've just been trying to keep this gaggle of cars behind us, especially Pierre Gasly, for the entirety of the race so far. And Gasly's going to have a go at us here on the back straight. He's behind us. He gets to the inside, but he has to brake early because he's on the inside of the corner. And we go around the outside into the chicane. And that is literally, I've not shown you every time this has happened because it's happened on literally every lap. But this time, Gasly's just a little bit closer as we head into the flat out right-hander next. And he's not going to try and go on this corner, but when we get to the next corner, which is the weird brake and accelerate one, he's having a loop down the inside. Look at him. He's actually side by side with us, but we squeeze him out and we maintain the P10 and the 1 point at the moment. But now we move on to lap 12, so 6 laps later. Gasly's pit on the previous lap, and we are going to pit on this lap for our set of hard tyres, as Fernando Alonso also follows us in. Hamilton's in the pits, Leclerc's in the pits, I'm in the pits, Alonso, Stroll. This is the lap where most people are pitting for their new set of tyres. And this is quite a slow pit lane as well, I think. So a good stop here is needed. It's a very long pit lane at that as well. As we finally drive into our box, we get those medium tyres off, fresh set of hard tyres, 2.8, not the most amazing stop in the world, but we're going to come out here in P17, yeah, P17, ahead of Lance Stroll, who I don't think we were ahead of. Oh no, sorry, Stroll was behind Alonso, as Daniel Ricciardo retires from the race. Stroll was behind Alonso and Ocon, and now I think Ocon's behind us. No, sorry, Ocon's well ahead because he still hasn't pit yet. But Stroll's now ahead of Alonso, and that's a faster car to try and deal with behind us. And now we move pretty much 2 laps later to lap 14 going on to 15, and Ocon has actually overtaken us. There are still some drivers yet to pit yet, your Giovinazzis and your Raikkonens, for example. But we're going to make a move on Esteban Ocon down the inside at turn 1 and get ahead of the Alpine driver. That's an Alpine between me and Stroll, which is exactly what I needed. I needed a car between me and Lance Stroll because that Aston Martin, whilst I said it wasn't very quick against the leaders, it is certainly quick against my car. And this is on the same lap. Whilst Ocon's trying to get past me, Stroll goes down Ocon's inside. Stroll and Ocon wheel to wheel. Ocon forced wide and hits his teammate Fernando Alonso. That all happened right behind us there. Alonso's now compromised. I think he's broken a little bit of his front wing there. It doesn't show up, but I think he's broken a bit of his front wing as he now comes into the pits. And we're now looking at it on board from the perspective of Fernando Alonso. He sees the two battling ahead, thinks, oh, I'll have a piece of that action. Ocon's forced out wide by Stroll, and then just drives straight into Fernando Alonso. I don't know who should have got out of the way there, if Alonso should have driven a different line, or if Ocon should have not come on the track quite so aggressively. But that's the angle from the front wing there. I keep rewinding it and fast forwarding it, but this is looking at the front wing. As you can see, once Ocon hits Alonso, definitely hits Alonso, but there's no visible damage to the front wing, but there's clearly damage because he then pits straight after. And now we're back on board with us again as Lance Stroll, as he's now got past Ocon again. He's now having a go at us here, and he tries to go round the outside at turn 1, but we're having absolutely none of it. As we cut him off into turn 2, he's got a bit more traction. Will he maybe have a go at us into turn 3 maybe? No, not quite this time. Stroll sticks behind us for the time being. But he's still going to have another chance as we head onto the back straight. And when I say stick behind us, he is right behind us right now, and he shows no signs of getting any further behind, as we have a bit of a poor corner there. And then watch, as soon as Stroll opens his DRS, look at the speed of that Aston Martin, and he absolutely glides past us with absolute ease. And we're down to P10, but I don't mind it too much. I'm just after points right now, as Ocon has a very opportunistic look down the inside there. And yeah, we even banged wheels and everything, but we're not having any of it from Esteban Ocon today. No, no, no. We're going to cut him off into the right-hander there. We go wide ourselves in doing it. He took the inside line and then braked instantly, and that really spooked me a bit. So I had to go wide on the corner. But yeah, Lance Stroll, I don't mind. As long as we get any kind of point, any amount of points, I'm happy with points, and 10th is a point, so there you go. But as we head on to lap 22, so this is 5 laps later, we've actually stuck with Stroll, so maybe he has some kind of issue or something, as he's not looking too fast, or at least not as fast as he was when he was behind us. And oh my word, Stroll's engine has just blown up in my face. That's why he was a bit slow. We actually hit him as we went past him there. I don't know how we managed that. But Stroll is out of the race. That is absolutely incredible. I didn't even think that maybe his engine was going or something, because he wasn't like physically looking slower. We were just stuck behind him, and he was dragging us along as far as I was aware. But whilst that was going on, we actually have a titanic battle up at the front between Max Verstappen, the two Mercedes of Valtteri Bottas and Lewis Hamilton, and also Lando Norris is there as well. And Perez, to be fair, is not far behind, as Bottas there had a look into turn 1. Verstappen's keeping them all behind for now, but how long can he hold on to this lead? He's had the lead since the start of the race. The two Mercedes started in 5th and 6th respectively, Bottas 5th, Hamilton 6th, and now they are putting the race leader Max Verstappen under all kinds of pressure, and Lando Norris has also joined the party as well, so any one of these four could win this race at the moment, as we're on board with Bottas. He's catching up with Verstappen here. He's gone down the inside into the chicane, but this time he thinks better of it and sticks behind the Red Bull for the time being. But what a battle this is turning into. Absolutely brilliant stuff from Valtteri Bottas to try and take the lead from the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. And on to the next lap, they're still going at it. Verstappen held them behind on the pit straight, but now we're onto the back straight, and Bottas has got a much better run at the Red Bull this time. Can he get past the Red Bull this time? Going into the chicane, he's gone around the outside this time. That is the better line, and Valtteri Bottas takes the lead of the French Grand Prix ahead of Max Verstappen. Absolutely brilliant racing from the Finn, and unfortunately for Verstappen, his lead that he's held for all 23 prior laps of this race has now gone with just 3 laps to go. And this is actually on the same lap, so I've managed to do this in chronological order somehow. But we're under pressure still from Esteban Ocon. We're holding this 9th place down for the time being, but Ocon is coming up on us so quickly, as is Pierre Gasly as well. And like I say, I don't mind if we finish 10th. We're in 9th at the moment, but if we finish 10th, that's absolutely fine. That's still a point. So if one of these two gets past me, I'm not going to fight it too hard, but if both of them get past me, then we've got an issue, and it looks like Ocon has got a chance to get past me here. He's got such better traction coming out of the chicane and into the fast right-hander. He's managed to do it. He's managed to get the position. We maybe have a look up the inside of him here into this right-hander, as he's been doing on us all day long, but we actually cut the corner there, and once we do that, we realise there is just no way we're getting back past him. We give him a little love tap as well, but that is going to be it in our defensive Esteban Ocon, and instead of looking forward, we now have to look behind us instead. And we now move back to this battle for the lead. It's on the final lap of the race. We're on to the final time down the back straight. Can anyone potentially make a move here? Hamilton is looking like he's getting very close to Max Verstappen. Verstappen went defensive, but Hamilton is nowhere near him. I don't know why Verstappen went on the defensive there. Does he really not have that much trust in his straight line speed? But Hamilton's got to be careful, because Lando Norris is right behind him as well, whilst Verstappen is now suddenly catching back up to Bottas again. This is going to be a huge battle all the way to the end here. As we go around now, we passed all the straight bits now. It's corners only, and it's the hardest place to overtake on the track. As Bottas leads from Verstappen, Hamilton and Norris. Perez has now dropped to 10 seconds behind Norris, but we now head to the final few corners here. It looks like Valtteri Bottas might take this, but will Verstappen make a move on Bottas? Will Hamilton make a move on Verstappen? Will Norris make a move on Hamilton? Who knows? Look at how close they are as they head to the final corner, but it is going to be Valtteri Bottas who takes the win of the French Grand Prix, with Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton completing the podium. A superb battle till the end there for the lead of the race. Absolutely brilliant stuff there. But we're also in our own battle for one singular point, and Pierre Gasly has managed to find his way past us, going in to the flat-out right-hander. Are we about to lose our one and only point that we could have won? No, we are not. We've done the up and under. We've done the switchback. We've oversteered into the AlphaTauri. That was a complete accident. That was not a very clean move at all, was it? And I think we might have damaged Gasly's front wing there, as he has dropped back massively. Again, not intentional, but it's just one of those things. We've oversteered into him, and that means that we are going to finish in P10, and for the second race in a row grab points for the team. Well, point for the team. That takes our total up to 7, and that is in the first 5 races. That is not bad at all. We've gone suddenly from fighting right at the back to fighting for 1 or 2 points. That is pretty nice, isn't it? Very good job from us.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Paul Ricard. Anthony Davidson, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, time management probably played quite a large role in the outcome of this one. As ever, it's not just about speed, it's all about maintaining that speed consistently over a stint, over a race distance. So being able to keep up the lap times while still being smooth on the controls and gentle on the tyres, that's really where the race was won today.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Well, there we go then, a decent day at the office for us. We finished P10, claiming 1 point. Robert Schwartzman finished in P15. We didn't really see much of Schwartzman, or in fact any of the drivers behind us. Nikita Mazepin with an impressive 13th place as well. That is not bad. So we only dropped 1 place from our grid spot, which was very nice. I mean, our car is a lot slower than the ones we were battling today, that is for sure. But now we're going to look at the driver's standings finally. We're in P12. Obviously, we must have been in P11 after the last race, but Carlos Sainz got some points today, which is good for him. So we dropped to P12, but of course we are up from where you last saw me, because when you last saw me, I was in probably P16 right there, where Giovinazzi is. Because of, well, no, actually, I was probably, I don't know where I was, 15th, 16th. I was the top of the people who didn't score points. I think Esteban Ocon was one of those who didn't as well. In terms of constructors, we're in 8th. We have 7 points. We are clear of the 3 below, and slightly behind AlphaTauri and Alpine as well. But maybe we could find our way into that battle if we make a few more upgrades to our car, maybe. And speaking of upgrades, we actually decide not to do any this time round. We've only got a week until the next Grand Prix, which is in Austria. We have 1,000 R&D points, yes, but after looking through what upgrades I could do, I decided I'm going to save up and give myself a few more options after the next race in Austria. So that is actually going to end off this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you like what you see and you want to see more. And if you don't want to miss a video, hit that little bell next to the subscribe button. You'll get a notification whenever I upload. Until next time, thanks so much for watching. Peace.